Welcome to the group chat, everybody. Do hope you had a very enjoyable Easter weekend. Lots for us to discuss after the United's come from behind victory against Brighton. And of course, big week ahead. We'll look ahead to that Europa League quarter-final against Granada with La Liga expert and former United striker Terry Gibson. But first, let's bring the lads in. Ben, we have Maisie, we have Danny, and we have Wes. Morning, boys. How are you?
Morning, Stu.
All good, mate.
When we spoke a week ago, virtually all you had the golf clubs in the car. That was the first day you could start playing. Maisie, how did you play? Oh, sorry. All right. Well, how did you play, Maisie?
I did all right. I was 6 over, Stu, so I'll take that. Not bad.
Playing again today? Playing again today?
I'm going again today, mate. Yeah, I've got my shorts on, even though it's been snowing this morning.
You've got this. It's not a short stay, mate. It's not a short stay. I mean, it looks like a short stay, but it's about 5 degrees, mate. Come on.
Don't worry about that. Don't be a wimp.
Where's that? Did you play?
Yeah, no, Wes Brown's still turning up. Gingerwood isn't here yet, so I need a few lessons, mate.
Yeah. And what about you, Danny? We wanted video evidence of your pull-ups last week. Is there any sign of that? No.
I've told you, you've got to wait months for that, mate. Is it? I'm carrying a bit too much timber. Do you know what I mean? It's not easy to get them pull-ups with my head over the bar at the moment.
You've got no chance of seeing Ben doing that, then, have you?
You set that up beautifully for him, Daniel. Thank you.
I know, mate. A nice assist there, wasn't it?
Well, listen, lads, a victory for United on Easter Sunday night, which is a slightly bizarre time to be playing. But Ben, not probably a classic, all-time classic performance, but it's that time of the season where, frankly, it doesn't really matter, does it? It's the win that matters.
It is. We've got 8 games to go, and I thought yesterday was going to be a particularly difficult game before we started. We've seen how good Brighton can be, not just against us, but in the league. And if they had somebody who could finish, I think you'd see them moving further up. They played the football the right way, and they caused us, 1 or 2 problems, not least, obviously, going in front. So I thought the lads showed great character, great resilience, and for the first time this season, I think, at Old Trafford, they've gone behind and actually come back to take 3 points. But that's 25 points from losing positions this season. It only sort of wonders where United could have been if they'd have actually gone in front on some of those occasions and extended that. But do you know what? It was a difficult game, I thought, and they came out with 3 points. And like you said, that is the most important thing, and it gives us that cushion between us and Leicester.
They did take the lead at Old Trafford. I wonder if you noticed Ben's slip of the tongue during the commentary. Just watch this.
Gross, good player, the German. Gets it wide, dangerous ball in, the header, brilliantly saved, and the rebound. No mistake. It is Danny Welbeck who comes back to haunt Manchester United.
And he plays the ball out, and it's a really, really good ball into the box. And Danny Webber gets the run on Aaron Wan-Bissaka. To be fair to Dean Henderson, he makes a brilliant save. And while we're on the subject of goal scorers, Stuart, I've been reliably informed that I called Danny Welbeck Danny Webber in the first half, so I do apologise.
Well, if you think we're a bit short of attacking options, we're not that short.
There you go, Danny. A dream for you. A goal at the Stretford end.
Mate, unbelievable. And to have you commentating over it, Stu, with Ben as well. You know what? I'm honoured. Absolutely honoured. But it's something I never managed to achieve. So if I close my eyes, I achieved it for a minute, didn't I?
Oh, dear. Ben, you'll never live it down, will you?
No, I won't. I made a very honest mistake. It was lovely to give Danny a goal at the Stretford end. He's never ever
do I get a goal bonus? Am I on the bonus?
So, yeah, very uncharacteristic, but a mistake nonetheless. Hold my hands up, and yeah, won't happen again.
Easy mistake.
He was in the building, wasn't he? So
yeah, he wasn't that far from the goal. He was actually off the pitch. The point that Ben made there, though, Wes, 25 points from losing positions. Now, none of it. We don't want to keep going behind, but it must say something about the spirit to keep coming back.
Yeah, great spirit. I mean, we don't like it because we've seen it quite often this season, coming back from behind. But the team spirit is good. They don't stop. They keep going. They keep driving forward, and sometimes it's not pretty. just like last night, really. But they get the job done, and sometimes that's all it's needed, especially this time of the season.
Maisie, are you concerned about these final games in terms of goals? Because it looks as though Anthony Martial is going to miss possibly the rest of the season, or the majority of the rest of the season. Marcus limped off a little bit.
Yeah.
So you suddenly sort of Mason and Cavani and Bruno, of course, the sort of main goal scoring options. You got any concerns about that going forward?
Well, you want your best players at this time of the season, don't you? And to lose two of them, particularly Marcus, it's not the right idea. It's not the right preparation, really. But you've got somebody in Cavani who's back from an injury. That game last night will have done him well. It didn't particularly perform as well as probably what he wanted to do, but and with Mason getting a goal, that'll do him well good because he's not been firing on all cylinders. So it's a chance to stake a claim and become the hero because with Granada coming up, nothing's ever written and nothing's easy. But you've got another chance of getting through to semi-final and hopefully playing a final.
Danny, on Mason, I think Ollie's been really pleased with his actual football this season. Not necessarily the goals output, but the way his game has developed. But now that the goals seem to be coming just at the right time.
Yeah, they do. And I think when you're a striker and you sort of, come through, I always think you're always adding bits to your game. So sometimes the goal scoring goes amiss for 5 minutes, which is obviously what you're judged on. But you look at his all round game, his hold up play is very good. Physically, he's been good. His movement as well. I'm watching him run off the shoulder. So he's still learning. You got to remember he's only young. He's still learning the game. And, his opening season, he came in, people didn't know much about him. Now they do. So he's got all these challenges that he's going through. And he'll score goals. I've got no doubt at all. He's always a threat. I still back him anytime he's in and around the box to put it in the back of the net. And in a weird way, the goal drought that he's had will do him good. He'll realise it's another realisation that you can come back from not scoring so many goals and get yourself back on it again. But he's always seemed focused. You rarely ever would see a poor performance from him, despite the goals.
And Ben, that's a 4-point cushion in second, 9 points clear of fourth, with games fast running out. I mean, it could. Yeah, that could be a very significant win, really, because there's still probably some ups and downs to come. But United just have a little bit of breathing space.
Yeah, it will be, because in times gone by, we've been in the sort of situation we were in where other teams have slipped up and we haven't capitalised. But yesterday we did. And all right, the lads have said, and they're quite right, it wasn't a wonderful free-flowing performance from Manchester United. But at the end of the day, they got the job done. They got the 3 points. And they just have to stay focused with every game, because there isn't going to be an easy game between now and the end of the season when you think that we've still got to play the likes of Burnley and Fulham. They're not going to be easy games. And the cushion that they've got at the moment, if you take it down, I mean, we obviously want to finish second, but you can take it right the way down to the 11-point cushion we've got over, I think it's Spurs at the moment. And we want to maintain that. And with every game, especially with us being involved in Europe as well, the focus has got to change. It's got to transition. But equally, we are in a very, very strong position to make sure that is where we finish. It's in our own hands to finish in second.
Just before we bring our guest in today, just to tidy up last week's show when Paddy Creran was on the show, your reaction on our YouTube channel, some of your comments. Paddy Creran stealing the show. It's not a surprise that Paddy will steal the show. I missed Paddy's commentary is another one. I know his unbiased words. This one as well. I don't think any Irish person would be offended by Maisie's comment. We'd be the first to slag ourselves off for the state of the national team. They're saying the national team is not particularly good at the moment. And this one as well. We need to sign at least 2 of the following to make the next step. Okay, so this is the transfer list. 2 of the following: Haaland, Sancho, Rice, Varane, Koundé, Kane, Ndidi. Ollie deserves to be backed now. That's quite a transfer list. Maisie, who would you want off that? Which 2 should we pluck from that transfer list?
Well, I'd certainly go for Haaland. The other problem is Raiola gets 20 million. His dad gets 20 million. He gets 30 million. So it's 70 million before you even start a transfer fee. So for me, I would certainly go for Grealish. And I don't know if he was mentioned in there. Declan Rice is another Roy Keane type like player, box to box, bosses in midfield. Possibly another centre half in there because, you know, you look at Harry and you look at Victor, then you look at Eric behind him. Eric just can't seem to be injury free. So, you know, you'd like another centre half just to cover that position.
Yeah, Eric picked up for COVID-19 side on international duty. So he recovers very, very soon. Fingers crossed for him. All right. Well, United, of course, travelling to Spain on Thursday to face Granada in Europa League quarter-final. First leg, the perfect man to speak to about this, Spanish football expert from the Liga TV and, of course, former United striker, Terry Gibson. How are you doing, Terry? Good to see you.
I'm very well, Stuart. Good morning, everybody.
Hi,
Morning, Terry.
Terry, just give us an idea of how great a story this is, really, for Granada. Their first season in European football, playing Manchester United. I mean, I suppose you could argue it's their biggest game in their history.
There's no argument. It definitely is. I think you have to explain this is their second season back in La Liga. If you remember, it was 4 years ago to the day when Tony Adams took over as manager, and it was quite humorous at the time. The team were in a mess. He was the third manager of the season, and he didn't make a particularly good job of it, I have to be honest. Since then, they've gone down, come back up. Last season, finished 7th. So they were kind of like a Sheffield United last season in terms of a massive surprise. But they did qualify for Europe. They had to go through the qualifying process. I think this is their 17th Europa League game this season. And it's a small squad. And they're still 9th in La Liga. So I think it's their 48th game of the season. And they've got nowhere near the size of the squad of Manchester United. And not one of their players would get into the team at Manchester United. So for them to defeat the likes of Napoli, to get out the group, 6 qualifying games to finish second in the group, beat Napoli, beat Molde. It's a dream tie for Granada. It really is. I mean, as you said, it is clearly the biggest game in the history of the club. I'm not sure at the moment whether their focus is purely on the Europa League because their league form has suffered, or whether they're knackered, to be honest. As I say, it's a small squad and playing all these games. A 3-0 defeat at home against Villarreal the weekend. Slightly flattered Villarreal. There's a couple of penalties there. But you can't underestimate them. They are, on their day, a better team than Brighton. And we saw the difficulty United had yesterday with a game against Brighton. So United can't afford to take them lightly. Anything other than good performances by United, it will be a complicated tie. But I do genuinely believe that Manchester United should have far too much for Granada if they play United play at their normal level.
I was looking at the squad, Terry, and I mean Roberto Soldado, former Tottenham player, he's Wes's age effectively up front, and Kennedy, who's on loan from Chelsea, has been around the block a bit, but who else would you pick out for us, the players to be aware of?
They've got a really good player. It's his second season on loan from Manchester City. He's a Venezuelan called Yangel Herrera. And I'm not sure he's going to be at City's level, but he's in La Liga. He's been really good for Granada. He's dynamic, he's mobile, he's tall, gets himself into the box. He's a box-to-box midfield player. Maxime Gonalons is another player that people will probably know from his past, the French international. Luis Suarez, believe it or not, is injured, and that's a big loss. And he's a Colombian Luis Suarez that they bought from Watford, who never played for Watford, but he's the transfer record signing for Granada. And then this goes to show the differences between United and Granada. It cost $6 million. He's their record transfer signing, so it really is the minnows against the giants of European football. But I think it's their strength is a team. Their strength is the manager. And their strength is they're a fluid team. So in general, they play a 4-3-3, which I think will be a 4-5-1 against United, even at home. But they can play 3 at the back, so that may be an option that the manager has. But Soldado has been terrific. I mean, he's the younger of the 2 strikers they have. The other one is Jorge Molina, who's 38. Either could play. They're both really good players. They both looked after themselves well. Soldado has been in fine form this season. So, again, he knows how to finish chances. He pins central defenders, doesn't make the channel runs anymore. he uses his body well, and if you give him an opportunity in the box, he's shown he can take it. So there's enough there. They are suffering with 1 or 2 injuries, which makes them weaker. Both fullbacks were missing at the weekend, and there are 1 or 2 players there that have been there since they were second division days. And I have to be honest, they've done better than expected. But I would imagine they might find it a lot tougher against Manchester United than, playing week in, week out in La Liga.
I think they've lost 5 out of 7, Terry, haven't they? And obviously they're coming up against a Manchester United team that have got formidable away form. How do you expect them to approach the game to try and stifle what Man United do?
I think they won't be as naive as Real Sociedad were. I think that, as I said, they're a fluid team where they do change tactics quite often. So I think it'll be a back 4, and I think there'll be a 5 across midfield with 2 wide players that are really good, that work hard. Darwin Machis is another player that I think had a spell in England at Watford. There's a lot of Watford links because they were owned at one stage by the same people as Watford Udinese. So I think that the wide players will be important, but I think it'll be a 4-5-1. They won't open up. They won't allow themselves to be hit on the counter-attack as Real Sociedad were. That was quite naive. Real Sociedad are a better team than Granada, but I think Granada are actually more suited for making life more difficult for Manchester United as opposed to Real Sociedad, who play an open attacking game, lots of nice football, slight weakness at the back in central defence, and when you add that against Manchester United just kept picking them off. So I think that they won't approach in the same way as Real Sociedad did.
Dan,
you've mentioned most of their team there. Do you reckon they've got any players that you think would be capable of playing in a top club?
Yeah, I think the goalkeeper, Wes Rui Silva, is in the Portuguese squad. I'm not sure he's got a cap yet, but he's a really good goalkeeper. And the centre-back, likewise, is a Portuguese international who's in the recent squads, Domingos Duarte. So it's Rui Silva in goal and Domingos Duarte. And I must be honest, a few English clubs have rang me to ask me what I think about him. And he's been faultless since his second season. He's suffered because I'm not sure his centre-back partnerships, his teammates have been up to his standard. But in general, he doesn't make mistakes. He's good in the air, and he looks like a player that, obviously playing for Portugal now, that he could go and play at a club at a high level. And Granada would have made a few quid on him. That's the type of club they have to be because they're not cash rich. So I would imagine, I wouldn't be surprised next season Duarte is playing for a bigger club and very possibly in the Premier League.
Diego Martinez, Terry, the manager. What's his skill set? How's he got this set of players doing so well?
It's hard to put your finger on that, Danny. But I think what we got to remember, he's earmarked for a bigger job. And he's earmarked for the Seville job because he worked at Seville. He was the B team manager. He was an assistant manager. He's very young, so he's gone away and learned his trade elsewhere. And all of a sudden, quite rightly, Seville wants him, but he's possibly, I think, Valencia next season might be his next job. But it's incredible. And you look at the strength is the team. I mean, you talk about individuals. I mentioned a couple of individuals there that are really good players. But it's getting the best out of a group of players who are on this amazing run over 2 seasons. I mean, to get promotion, they're favourites to get relegated. They finished in Europe. Now they're 9th, and they're being criticised this season for only being 9th. And as I said, £6 million is their record signing. So I think it's a collective effort, and his organisation. And I don't think there's many managers that can change tactics on a regular basis and the team still look organised. But his team do. As I said, I think it'll be a 4-5-1. They can play 4-3-3 with the wingers staying high up the pitch. They can play a 3 at the back, so you've got wing backs. And whichever system they play, it looks like his organisational and coaching skills, the players understand it. It never seems to be a problem for them. So I think that seems to be his greatest strength. And of course, working on the players' mentality, togetherness, like that, and spirit is something that we'll recognise does come from the manager.
Terry, you mentioned about Granada beating Napoli. That was like an incredible result for them. Coming to Old Trafford, there's no intimidation by the fans or anything like that. They can come to Old Trafford in the second leg and obviously give it a go, depending on the first leg. Do you see any chance at all for Granada actually causing another upset?
And I think Manchester United would have to play well below par in both games. So I think if it was a one-off tie, I would give Granada half a chance of, showing their spirit. But I think over the 2 games, I'd be a massive surprise. I mean, this is a draw that United would have liked against the team that are playing the first time in Europe, the team that's playing their first ever game against English opposition, and they're playing Old Trafford. So this is like winning the final for Granada, getting to the last 8 in their first season in the competition, and they could have been playing one of the other teams in this competition, but it's the plum draw for them, to get United. That Granada know they're not going to win the Europa League, but they wanted another big game like the Napoli one. So I think if you take into account how they did against Napoli, Manchester United can't underestimate them, because obviously the first leg is in Granada. Granada will be looking to keep it nice and tight. They'll be looking to give themselves. They'll be hoping to be in the tie for the second leg. Yeah. And then that spirit and stuff will come through, and who knows what could happen. But I think that this is the final for Granada. They've got as far as they're going to get, and to play United is better than going out to one of the other clubs that they're not going to look back in history and go, oh, if they get beat by United, this will be the end of the dream for them and the big game. But they'll be going into it thinking they can make life complicated for United.
I suppose going back to Old Trafford in the second leg probably finishes off the tie for them then.
Yeah, I think. I mean, it's going to be. They're going to play like an away team at home. I'm pretty sure of that. And so they look to play on the counter attack, which they're good at. As I said, the Antonio Puertas and Darwin Matches, the 2 wide players, they can cause you problems. They're both good, really good players. Matches in particular, he's been injured, but he came back at the weekend, come off the bench. He can be a real danger man, and I say if they give some chances for Soldado, he'll take one. So I think they'll play like they won't be as naive and as silly as Real Sociedad were. I don't know what Real Sociedad were thinking. They thought that they are a good team, they're a good footballing team. We saw that in the second leg at Old Trafford in the first half an hour. But the way they approached the game by just leaving 2 centre backs on the halfway line, and United just picked them off. I think Granada, Diego Martinez would have learned from that, and he won't make the same mistake. At least I don't think he will, but there is a big difference in quality between the 2 teams, and it could easily happen again.
Terry, I wanted to ask you, because the next league game for United is Tottenham, and obviously you started your career at Tottenham. A few Tottenham fans I know are a bit cheesed off, quite frankly, at the moment. What are you feeling?
Yeah, I'm one, I have to be honest. Probably the same feelings as what the boys had when the manager was managing Manchester United, I guess. It's frustrating. 2 big points dropped yesterday on the back of Chelsea losing, so Spurs chasing down the Champions League spot. Can't afford to be dropping points away. Newcastle was struggling to win, and Newcastle deserved at least a point. So the team are not playing well. Defensively, they're not good. Changing, the players too often at the back. I wished he'd been more patient with Gareth Bale. It looks like Bale's lost momentum now. When he was having a really good run, he was then taken off at Arsenal just after the beginning of the second half. We haven't seen him since. So it is a frustrating period to be a Spurs fan. I understand the frustration, and slightly nervous now with them playing City coming up as well in the League Cup final as well. So it's not looking too great at the moment for Spurs, but it'll be a tough game. They're a good team, great attacking players, but the defensive problems are an issue for Spurs at the moment.
If they did win the League Cup final, would that? I don't know whether paper over the cracks is the right thing to say, but would that, because they have barely won a trophy in 30 years, in all fairness. I mean, so would a trophy, or is finishing the top 4 the thing? Yeah,
I think that with the way that Jose is managing, I think that he has to win trophies or has to finish in the top 4. I think that, over the years, Tottenham supporters are not quite happy, but they want to see good football, attacking football. And, the realistic expectations are not of a United, not of a City, not of Liverpool, of a Chelsea in recent years. So I think the Spurs supporters want to see good football and hopefully win a trophy. One day Ramos was the last one to win a trophy. It's that far back now. So, but I think when you play the style that Jose plays and you don't win trophies and you don't get in the top 4, then you're not getting a really good deal. I was going to say for the price of a season ticket, but that doesn't count at the moment. Possibly it's helped that there aren't supporters there, because I know the majority of Spurs supporters desperate to win trophies, of course, but they're not particularly in love with the way that things are going with Jose Mourinho as manager at the moment.
Harry Kane would look great in a red shirt, wouldn't he, as well? Terry, is this easy?
Harry Kane would improve any team in the world. And it's a worry now because I kind of look at Harry Kane now and think if he's got anything about him, then if Spurs don't win anything this year and don't look like they're going in the right direction. And what I mean by that is with some of the players they've got, they should be looking to get closer to the top of the league. And if that isn't the case, then I think you'd be slightly disappointed if Harry Kane didn't want to go on and play for a team that is, playing regular in the Champions League, that is fighting to win the league title. So I think it's a worry for Spurs fans that it might be his last season. That I hope not. I hope he gets the goals this year, that gets in the top four, that win the League Cup against City, and then he decides to hang around a bit longer. So with his age, I think it is this season. It's now or never.
Been great having you on, Terry. Before we go, let's just go around the lads and see what you think's going to happen Thursday. Terry, first of all, Thursday, what is going to happen? What's your gut instinct Thursday night?
I'm going to go for 2-1 win for United. So the second leg will still be up for grabs, but tough for Granada.
Ben?
2-0. I think it'll be tough, like Terry said, they will make it difficult, but I think United will find a way to not concede and take a fairly healthy lead back to Old Trafford.
Yeah. Maisie, what's going to happen Thursday?
I'll stick with Ben, 2-0. I think keep a clean sheet, bring that to Old Trafford and finish them off there.
Yeah, we'll take that, Wes.
I'm going to go with what Terry's give us there, and I'm going to go 1-0 to United because I'm guessing they're going to be up for this and they're going to try and keep it tight.
Yeah. Dan?
Similarly, 1-0, I think, is vital away. Then we can, come back to Old Trafford. I think it'll be a tough one, so 1-0.
Yeah, you might be on a score sheet again if Ben's commentating as well. Good luck.
What, for Granada this time?
Yes.
I've learned a bit of Spanish, un poquito.
Listen, lads, enjoy the rest of your bank holiday weekend, and great to speak to you, Terry. Really appreciate you coming on the show.
My pleasure.
Cheers, Terry.
Thank you.
Cheers, everyone. Cheers, Terry.